racism, greed, trauma to brain and spine. And yet, I cannot look away. Heroes are dead. Science has their heads. Oh, is there no escape from here? I need to know. It eats my soul. Nothing stops me and Is this heaven or hell? I can't tell. It's human cockfighting. CTE, prayer circles. They blackballed the blackballer. They tried to end racism by stenciling it in the end zone. Billionaire boys using millionaires as toys. It's all immoral, all unethical. Ooh, the witching hour. Nothing stops the NFL. Is this heaven or hell? I can't tell. It's Irvin and Snyder and Flores and Gruden, but Kyler, but Kelsey, but Cooper, but Canton. It's cheating and tanking and bounties and banking, but parlays, but face paint, but promo, but weddings.
Here we go. This one's for all the glory. Give it your best, it's all you've got. Don't look back. Oh, it's all part of the story. You talk the talk, now walk the walk. Yeah.
When the game's on the line, will you have the guts to make the call? When it's crunch time, will you make us scream, God bless football?
Sing it louder. From the back of every bar or the subway, on the streets or in your car, wherever you have found yourself, scream out your battle cry. I'm all in. I'm all in. Fourth and goal, or pin back at your 30. Time to prove you're a hot shot. Let's attack. Oh, your name is Brandon Staley. Unleash some hell and go for gold. Yeah.
Up you yours again. Does your QB have the guts? Will you just punt, or throw it up to Cooper Cup?
Sing it louder. From the back of every bar or the subway, on the streets or in your car, wherever you have found yourself, scream out your battle cry. I'm all in.
Yeah! One play at a time, boys. One play at a time. Winning isn't everything. It's the only thing.
All in. All in? I'm a fan of the Jets. I'm a fan of the Jets. The Jets. The Jets. Why this team? The Jets. Ah, the Jets! The Jets!
Greetings to all. Welcome to 2022. Omicron is on the run, and away it went. But oops, there goes gravity, and here comes a new variant. Omaha, Corona, Hut 1, Hut 2, nothing infects the Super Bowl, and nothing stops football.
Racism, greed, trauma to brain and spine. And yet, I cannot look away. Heroes are dead. Science has their heads. Oh, is there no escape from here? I need to know. It eats my soul. Nothing stops the NFL. Is this heaven or hell? I can't tell. It's human cockfighting. CTE prayer circles. They blackballed the blackballer. They tried to end racism by stenciling it in the end zone. Billionaire boys using millionaires as toys. It's all immoral, all unethical. Ooh, the witching hour. Nothing stops the NFL. Is this heaven or hell? I can't tell. It's Irving and Snyder and Flores and Gruden, but Kyler, but Kelsey, but Cooper, but Canton. It's cheating and tanking and bounties and banking, but parlays, but face paint, but promo, but
throw it up to Cooper Cup.
Sing it louder from the back of every bar or the subway, on the streets or in your car. Wherever you have found yourself, scream out your battle cry. I'm all
Yeah! One play at a time, boys. One play at a time. Winning isn't everything. It's the only thing. All in. All in? I'm a fan of the Jets. I'm a fan of the Jets.
We have stirred Amin Elhassan to get basketball knowledge and information, reacting to news. The story of the day and the weekend, Stugotz, is the basketball transaction in a week that promises all sorts of basketball transactions. And also, Billy and Stugotz are headed to the Super Bowl. Jessica is at the Super Bowl. Amin is on the fringes of the Super Bowl trying to get into our coverage and being banned at every turn.
I mean, he lives there.
But before we get to Kyrie Irving, I need to ask this question seriously based on the generational and cultural differences in this room. How many people last night, how many millennials last night are watching the Grammys and shocked that actors Ice-T and Method Man and Queen Latifah can also rap? What was that? What was that Amin's laugh? Is that what that sound was? Tell me about the Grammys. I did not see much of it. I just saw Bonnie Raitt in a victory for old people.
Good for Bonnie Raitt.
Whoever that may be, by the way.
Yeah,
no.
but good for her.
Oh,
you know
no.
what? That meant so much to Bonnie Raitt. She was nominated. There were a bunch of people I'd never heard of, a couple I've heard
Well,
of.
but how about this, though? Tony has
Beyonce, Taylor Swift,
We were
enough of
stolen.
them.
Hold on. Everybody
I mean,
needs to stop for a second. We were stolen as a country, as a
what do you
universe,
mean we
as
were
a
stolen?
galaxy.
What-
We were
what-
stolen of many
Like
things.
we're missing?
We were robbed?
We
Two
were robbed.
Americas.
Wow, because
Kidnapped.
3 Americas, people. 3 Americas.
Beyonce didn't win?
Absolutely not. It was Bad Bunny. He should have swept the entire thing. I'm looking here. Record of the year. Album of the year he should have won. I don't know what record and song of the year. I don't know why that's
I
a
think
difference.
song is about the songwriting.
You
Bad
don't
Bunny
know-
should have won all 3. It should have been a
Why
sweep.
Bonnie Raitt won?
You don't know who
Whoever
Bonnie
that is.
Raitt...
How am I supposed to know, Dan, who Bonnie Raitt is?
To be fair, I don't know who Bonnie Raitt is either. But I don't flaunt it. I don't turn on a microphone and go, how should I know?
I just
probably
asked
should
the
know,
question.
I just don't.
That's Reba McEntire.
No, that's Bonnie Raitt. That's Bonnie Raitt.
Billy, you don't know who Bonnie Raitt is either?
That's Reba.
No, Reba.
It's Bonnie Raitt.
Bonnie played Reba on the Reba show then?
No, it's Bonnie Raitt.
What a great moment.
See, I'm not alone here.
Okay.
I will say that I had
Unbelievable.
once found out Bonnie Raitt by being 12, asking, who's that?
Put
You're
her on
older
the-
than me, though.
Put her on the
We
poll.
hung out in different circles.
This
Exactly.
is unbelievable. Put it on the poll, please. It's disrespectful. I'm here, Tony, for you just waving the flag that's never been waved around here before, because Stugotz has his flag of ignorance that he waves around proudly, but no one has waved it with this ferocity before around here. Put it on the poll, please, Juju, at Lebatard Show. Do you know who Bonnie Raitt is?
She's a legend.
In what?
Country music.
I'm just asking. I'm not saying anything
just
like she
explaining.
shouldn't have won Song of the Year. I've never heard of the song. I didn't know who she was.
She did it at the Grammys. That's what she did.
I mean,
right?
yeah, but she was the last
She took
person
on
that
the
they
hardware.
mentioned, and it was
Yeah.
like, oh, and this person.
She was the last person you thought was going to win, and
Because
she pulled one out.
I never
and she
thought of
won.
her ever in my life, actually.
16 seed. I mean,
But is it like Lifetime achievement? Like why?
No, she won
Is the
Song of
song
the Year.
good?
She won Song of the Year.
Song of the Year. It's a songwriting award. So
It's not a 16 seed, though, Stugotz. It's a traditional power.
In this particular game, it is. I mean, no one thought Bonnie Raitt was going to win that thing. No one. Nobody
I
bet
agree.
on
That-
Bonnie
that
Raitt
agreed.
before.
I agreed.
Right.
that's a fair
That's
fair
right.
take
Well,
right there.
the other 8 candidates split the vote. It's how Trump got elected.
Did you see Bonnie Raitt's reaction? Bonnie Raitt was surprised.
Yep, totally surprised.
Bonnie Raitt was shocked. She's
How could
become
you
a
not
meme.
be? Because the other 8 candidates had music that was similar, and here's Bonnie Raitt.
She won 3 Grammys yesterday.
A big year for Bonnie Raitt.
She won Song of the Year, Best American Roots Song, and Best Americana Performance. What does that mean?
What does that mean?
Americana is a subgenre of country music.
Isn't it just country music?
Yeah, you have me
No.
listening to Americana, Dan.
No, there's country.
I'm
music.
listening to
There's all
perreo,
sorts of-
Dan.
There's
That's a good point.
Reggaeton. Moscow Mule didn't win Song of the Year. It's a crime, by the way.
We were
there's
stolen.
different versions
What kind
of
of
Latin
chant
music.
is that?
You know,
Yeah, but still.
but that's how country music works.
I
There's
don't know about
bluegrass, Americana.
It was
folk.
stolen from us as a people.
We were
As
stolen.
a Hispanic people, it was stolen from us.
Billy is
They give us
trying-
5 minutes in
were
the beginning of
stolen.
the thing. That's crazy.
Some people were stolen. 2 Americas.
3 Americas.
I mean, Kyrie Irving, I really don't know where it is to start here. So what are the elements of this that you found most interesting? Because a lot of us have questions how the usage rates of Kyrie Irving and Luka are going to combine. Wait a minute. Hold on a minute. Billy's slapping his forehead. Why?
Tony seems to be arguing that Bad Bunny should have won an award that he was not nominated for.
Exactly.
Bad Bunny was not even nominated for Song
Bishop
of
to
the Year.
Rook 9, gentlemen. Check.
Tony, go sit in the penalty
Oh,
box.
come on!
Wow.
I mean, give us what it is that you found most interesting about everything surrounding Kyrie Irving.
The funny thing is, so Dallas, obviously they've struggled this year. They're a roughly 500 team, and they miss Jalen Brunson, right? They miss having that other guy who can create for himself and for others without relying on Luka. They miss the guy who can come in when Luka is not in the game and hold the fort down and steady it. And so we're like, okay, they go out and they get Kyrie Irving, and everyone's like, no, that's terrible. That's an awful thing. Because I think, and I don't disagree with having those concerns. And the more I thought about it, the more I realized why is that Jalen Brunson was the exact right level of talented without bringing with it all the egos and trappings of a true star, at least last year. Someone who would essentially be offended by how he was used when Luka was in the game and demand more. Jalen Brunson was good enough to basically to take it, to manage it, to be patient in that situation and make the best of it, and also be good enough to make the best of it, because a player of lesser talent would be like okay with it, but then he wouldn't be able to carry the load the way Brunson did. But a player with perhaps greater talent or maybe a greater reputation like Brunson would be able to fulfill the duties, would probably be upset, thinking I can do so much more and I'm being relegated to this role. So Brunson was like the sweet spot for Dallas last year. Kyrie Irving brings all of the things that Jalen Brunson brought to this team last season that made them so successful. But the question is he going to be accommodating enough? And then vice versa also, is Luka going to be accommodating and take a little bit of slack in his leash of control and allow for another superstar to be great out there? That's the most interesting dynamic, I think, of this deal.
I've got a lot of questions because you're just attacking the basketball of it here, and there's a great deal more here. But let's talk about the transaction. Among the reported offers, which did you think were better than the one Brooklyn took?
I mean, I thought Brooklyn got the best deal. You got multiple picks in there, and then more importantly, you got players that can help you right now. Spencer Dinwiddie, who's been in Brooklyn, they're very familiar with him. He's a good offensive weapon to have, either bring off the bench or as a starter. He can create his own shot. He's not Kyrie Irving, that's clear. I mean, he's not even Jalen Brunson. But he's also not chopped liver either. He was a guy in Brooklyn who was a fringe all-star at one point until he got hurt that season. And then Dorian Finney-Smith, I thought, this is a guy who, if you're a championship contending team, this is exactly the player you want. He's big, he's versatile defensively, he's a much improved three-point shooter, and his contract is dirt cheap. He's either great if you're contending, or if you're not, He's great as a trade chip. So I thought they did well to help themselves in the now, if there is a now for Brooklyn, and then also in the later if this thing doesn't work out.
I mean, you mentioned Luka and his willingness to maybe take a step back, a slight step back. Doesn't he have to? When you bring on Kyrie Irving, doesn't it go without saying if you're Luka, you're agreeing to take a slight step back?
Yes and no, Stugotz. Yes, everyone's sacrifice is easy on paper, right? Everyone loves to sacrifice. Oh, I can't wait to come here and sacrifice. And then you have to actually do it. And you realize, ew, this is what sacrifice was? I didn't think it was going to be like this. Because players are creatures of habit. They're used to catching the ball in certain spaces. They're used to having the ball in their hands, right? Think about Kyrie going to Boston, for instance. And at first, it was great. Everyone was like, great. Like, he can help this young team take that next step. But then he gets hurt. And then Tatum and Brown grow in their powers. And by the time Kyrie comes back, now it's crowded, right? They should have said, oh, well, I'll take a step back. But they couldn't because it was like, this is a little too much talent and not enough basketballs. Come to Dallas, Luka Doncic is the most ball-dominant player in the league. He has been the last couple of years taking over that mantle from James Harden. When you look at the usage rates, year by year over the last 2 or 3 years, he is the number one. He is apex, right? Even going down 5% for someone like that is going to feel like a massive give. And my prediction is, at first, they're going to do it. Kind of like they did it in Brooklyn when James Harden got there. Everyone was nice and liked to play with one another. But eventually what's going to end up happening is guys are going to be frustrated, especially when we're in what I affectionately like to call legume cutting time in the playoffs. That's where all that sacrifice stuff goes out the window and guys are going to want the ball. And if they're successful, everyone's going to be happy. But the minute they're not successful, it's going to be, should have been me. Should have had the ball in my hands. I don't know why we're messing around with this.
I got a couple of questions here. What is chopped liver in a value situation? Do we need to update that phrase, so-and-so is not chopped liver? Is chopped liver super cheap? Is there something else that we can replace chopped liver with? And also, why did you go legume there? I felt like that was unnecessary.
Well, chopped liver, let me just say right now, to quote the great Tim Meadows in Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story, it's the cheapest thing there is, right? Oh, sounds pretty expensive. It's the cheapest one there is. As far as legume cutting, I came up with that. Honestly, that's an ESPN relic, Dan, when I couldn't say things like nut cutting time on air. So I had to be creative with my, my phrases. It's like when someone would say something obvious and I would say on air, no shiitake mushrooms, Sherlock.
That's dangerous.
You get it, Dan?
It sounds like shit, but it's not.
It's too complicated. I don't understand it.
Too hot for ESPN.
Look at that. He is the man from ESPN, Amin Elhassan, front office insider. We have a lot of questions for him. The Nets management not sending him to the Lakers. What did you make of that? LeBron not getting him. What did you make of that?
The LeBron tweet. Mwah, man. Maybe it's me. We should have led with that. That's my fault. You asked me what was most interesting. I give you a boring basketball answer. Maybe it's me might be the most emo thing ever tweeted in the history of Twitter. I'm talking about everything. I'm talking about even the emo kids when they're on Twitter. They haven't emo tweeted as emo as that. Maybe it's me. I felt legit sad, and then I laughed so hard, man. Look.
But wait a minute, stop there for a second, because he is kind of heartbroken that he can't get together with his old love to rekindle that old flame. It's kind of funny to see how amazing that is.
It left him. I mean,
but it's not even. I don't even think it's just this person. It's just get me somebody who's not Rui Hachimura, please. Can we get something with our 2 first-round picks?
42 minutes a night.
Are our 2 first-round picks worth anything to anyone? Please, can a star come here?
The reality is, Witty, is I think that's what that was about. Is like, this was like my last lifeline, my last hope of getting something actual, tangible talent in here, and that one's gone. Because now you look around, and now we're talking about Jakob Poeltl deals and OG Anunoby, like that's just not. There's a drop off between Kyrie Irving and the next round of guys who might get traded. And I think LeBron, man, that's mortality that he just looked at right there when he tweeted
it's not just mortality. It's also In the week that you're going to break the scoring record and you're now top 5 in assists, as ESPN has an MJ day, you're whimpering out, maybe it's me. Like, I mean, he's an immortal. Like, he's one of the best athletes any of us have ever seen, and still
life
great.
just never breaks for poor LeBron James. He can't catch one.
Dan, you're a well-read man. Do you know the story of Achilles? His mother dipped him in the river Styx, and he came out invincible, indestructible, except for the one dry piece of him, which was, of course, his Achilles heel, where his mom held him from as she dipped him head down into these waters. And so years and years later, in the Battle of Troy, he's out there, he's just cutting people down. And, oh, Achilles, he can't be killed. But somebody, it was at Paris, got the scoop, and then got his sharpshooters to hit a poison arrow right in that spot. That's LeBron James, ladies and gentlemen. He is indestructible. He's bigger, faster, stronger than anybody in the history of this game. More points eventually than anyone's ever scored. Top 5 in assists, top 10 in rebounds. He's going to be top whatever in steals. He is basketball perfection, except for this one little Achilles heel, man. And that Achilles heel, Stugotz, say it with me, RIGZZZZZ. He just doesn't have quite enough rings to beat old MJ, who has February 3rd open.
Yeah, it's very wordy. I was just going to say, Michael.
You spelled
Riggs.
it wrong.
It's a fine, too.
How could you spell that wrong?
Why didn't Achilles' mom just like dip her hand in too, like, and then just have like an indestructible hand? I didn't understand that.
Or go for a second dip to make sure that the heel
or
is
hop
covered.
in there. Like, was Achilles a baby when Achilles was dipped? Because why are we dipping babies head first into water and holding them by their feet? That seems like a bad thing. Why don't you just hop in there with baby Achilles, dunk everybody's head in there, and then we have two like people that are indestructible?
Billy, this is my theory. She wasn't sure about this. They told her, she's like, I don't know. So I'm going to play it safe. If this baby comes out as a skeleton, then at least the baby got away. And, I got away with my hands intact. I think she was scared. She didn't know how this thing was going to go. And then when it happened and it worked, she was so ecstatic, she just got sloppy and didn't finish the job.
Does Nets management deserve any criticism here?
I don't think criticism should occur for today. I think the criticism occurs years and years ago when you gave the keys to these two guys.
Oh, I mean, we all would have done it.
I think most teams
we
would have
all
done
would
that.
have done it.
Dan, do you think Pat Riley and Mickey would have done it?
I mean, come on. Almost everybody listening to this would have done that.
For Durant and Kyrie, yes, I think Riley would have done it. Yes.
I don't think he would have. I don't think he would have.
All right, you're picking the one outlier. Right? You're picking the one outlier. I mean, everybody would have done this.
San Antonio wouldn't have done this. I don't think Boston would have done this. I think there's certain organizations where their management is good enough with ownership to say, these two guys are great, like franchise-changing talents. We cannot cede control. Not because it's evil, we're going to be evil franchises, whatever, but because in order for this thing to work, there has to be some measure of chain of command. That's not to diminish what these great talents bring to the organization, both on the court and in the box office, in terms of marketing. But this thing doesn't work unless we accept certain kind of power structures, because otherwise you are operating on whims. Brooklyn was a team that had worked its way from the absolute muck to be in a position to add Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. Yes, you go ahead and if you can sign those guys, you sign those guys. But you cannot have a culture where they're allowed to do whatever they want over and over again and then be surprised at the end when what they want.
Again, I mean, you say that, but okay, 28 or 29 of the teams would have done it. Like, okay, you're mentioning the outliers. Most of the people listening to this, they did not have the ability to see this clearly. Most of the people would have wanted those two guys and done whatever it took to be have those two guys on the team. So I ask you this question: where does this rank in terms of apocalyptic failures in team building to go to these lengths, and James Harden figures out in 5 minutes, no thank you, and then the whole thing falls apart?
I mean, it's up there. It's up there, I guess, with the Lakers of 2012, who added Dwight Howard and Steve Nash and gave up a lot of picks in that regard. It's up there, I guess, if you want to go to football with the Herschel Walker deal, Dallas and Minnesota. Oh, I mean, here's the deal. 3 years ago, if you told me Kyrie Irving is going to be healthy and averaging, 25 or 27 points a game and shooting what he's shooting, and is going to get traded for Spencer Dinwiddie, Dorian Finney-Smith, and a first-round pick in a couple of seconds, you would have said, wow, what went horribly, horribly wrong? And what the answer would have been so outlandish, I don't think people would have believed it. But the reality is this. Kyrie did not become a mercurial kind of unpredictable, unreliable guy in the last 3 years. He was this in Cleveland up until LeBron got there, and then then clearly behind the scenes was uncontrollable. He was this in Boston, and he was what he was in Brooklyn, except the difference in Boston and Cleveland, there was some measure of control. They could keep some of this under wraps. They could handle it without fear. You cannot operate in a place where the power structures operate in fear the whole time. And that's what the Nets did. And so what we saw was just an explosion of all of this. Part of why Kyrie Irving went for what he went for was because teams were like, I like him, I want him, he's talented, but I'm not giving up everything for this guy because I don't know if what he pulled in the last 3 spots is going to happen to me too.
And I also think you can't underestimate, like, when Brooklyn does this, they have a new owner, and it seemed like he was going to be paradigm changing. And no, the players are going to help be a part of this, and his inexperience there. But couldn't we also say this is a fairly unlucky experiment for Brooklyn too? Because the whole pandemic thing happened in the middle of it, and that seemed to have changed a lot. I kind of wonder if you redo everything, but you get rid of that whole global pandemic thing, if this might have worked and worked rather well.
Oh, Woody, I would retort to you, the pandemic happened to 29 other teams, and they didn't have this massive of a crater in their organization. The pandemic happened, and it sucked, but it's one thing, like, why people say, oh, the Lakers championship is an asterisk. Well, everybody was playing in a pandemic. It's not like they were playing in a bubble and everybody else had to go on the road. So, like, it's an equal playing field in that regard. How people handled it and reacted to it, that's up to them, man. That's part of this. I would say the unlucky part is the thing that what if we should ask is if Kevin Durant wears a size 17 instead of a size 19, do they beat the Bucks? Do they house the Hawks? Do they roll over the Suns? And are they champions? And does that cover all of this? And people say, they're crazy, but it doesn't matter. Everyone get paid because we won the title. That's the what if question, because we've seen this in the past in the NBA. It's like, the difference between, man, that very same postseason, think about this. In the middle of that Nets-Bucks series, we were already measuring out Mike Budenholzer's coffin. And and in turn, taking Rick Carlisle on a tour of the facilities. Oh, do you like the drapes here, Rick? Oh, we can change them if you want, right? That's how close it was to Rick Carlisle being the coach of the Bucks. Because it was done. And then, of course, the Bucks win. And they win the next series, and they win the championship. And Bud goes from on ICU with the little beeping thing in the background to this great champion with a new deal. And Bud's fine. That's how close it is. The opposite side of that coin is what happens to the Nets if they're the ones who win. Is Steve Nash with a new 5-year deal right now? Is Kyrie Irving compensated with a max deal, no strings attached? That's crazy,
right? That's just crazy to think that that's the margin.
But it is,
his toe,
right?
Kevin Durant's toe, the length of his toe.
But I mean, moving forward here with this deal with Dallas in a conference that has Denver, Sacramento, Memphis, teams like that atop the conference.
Sacramento.
Are you going to be? It's amazing. And now
you said that as if you.
I'm so happy we live in a world again where Sacramento is relevant.
Think about what you just said.
I know, but those are the 3 teams:
Denver, Sacramento.
Are you going to be surprised? Where could Dallas go with this deal? Could they make it to the finals?
Dan, 2 years ago, if Stugotz says in a world where West with Denver and Sacramento and Memphis. It sounds ridiculous. 2 years ago, right?
I know.
And here we are. No, look, the Western Conference is incredibly crowded. And the problem with the West is You name the top 3 seeds. I'm assuming because you're just reading up the standings on NBA.com.
And they're the top 3
ESPN.com.
seeds. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. No, I'm saying that's how you did. You read the first 3 teams.
Of course I did. You think I knew that 2 minutes ago? No.
But the reality is that the dangers don't stop there. The Clippers are really good, right? The Warriors are really good. So and obviously Dallas might be really good too with the addition of Kyrie Irving. It's so hard to differentiate, and I think what's going to happen the rest of the week, some of these other deals that are going to happen is going to give us maybe a little bit more clarity, but not a whole hell of a lot, because all of these teams are within a handful of games of one another. And even the Denver Nuggets, who have comfortable breathing room on that number 1 seed, they're still not indestructible. We know that this Golden State Warriors team, when healthy, is dangerous as hell. And we know that all that's been happening this year, you might look at it as a downside or, they're struggling or whatever. But the reality is all they're doing is getting those young guys a lot of experience, a lot of time, so that when the time comes and everybody's healthy, those guys are going to be ready to contribute. Similarly, for the Clippers, who, by the way, were in on Kyrie Irving as a deal, I don't think it stops there for them. I think they're going to make a deal. Maybe it's going to be for Mike Conley. Maybe it's going to be for someone else. And that has an opportunity to elevate them as well as, obviously, when their guys are healthy. So I think the Western Conference, regardless, is going to be a trap for everybody. I don't think anyone in the West is looking at it and saying what Josh said, a month ago or whatever, when he said, "Oh, nobody in the West bothers us." Quite the opposite. Everybody in the West bothers.
And Draymond Green says the same thing. We're not worried about anybody in the West. But can you just take me through what's happening with Memphis? Dylan Brooks seems to annoy everybody, and now there are reports about Ja Morant's family. I'm not even sure how fair those reports are. Can you explain to me what's happening around Ja Morant?
Look, Ja Morant is a good kid. Ja comes from a good family. He's got his dad, while funny and kind of a character, is a very decent human being. So, anything about this, I don't know. I just read what you guys read, and if you're listening, you're like, what are they talking about? There's an alleged story that someone in Ja's camp, along with Ja, were riding in a car following the Pacers after their game against Memphis and pointing a little red laser at the Pacers traveling party. Whether that was just a laser pointer or something attached to something more menacing is not clear, but that's the story that's going around. I've heard a couple other stories that haven't been reported that are around the same kind of neighborhood of weaponry and things like that. Look, I don't know Ja personally,
but there is also an investigation, is there not? It's not by the Athletic. Was it by the league into the behavior, whether Ja Morant's family is menacing other teams or not? Correct?
There is, there's an investigation into the incident and whether there are any other incidents happening. Again, from what I know, from people who know Ja's family, and I've obviously spoken to Ja before, and I've dealt with his dad a lot. Like, these are good people, man. These are not people who come from a background of problems like that. If that stuff is happening, by the way, Dan, it wouldn't be the first time in this league. Let me give you a name. Again, I'm not trying to compare these two people, but I'm saying it wouldn't be the first time. Javaris Crittenton, who is in prison right now for having committed murder or been part of the accidental shooting and eventual death of a young mother in Atlanta. Javaris Crittenton went to a really good private school. He comes from a very good family. He got into Georgia Tech, not just because he's a good basketball player, because he got good grades. He's a good kid. He gets out to L.A. He starts mingling with the wrong crowd because you're in L.A. and, you're a kid from Atlanta and all of these influences are out here. And next thing you know, he's part of what was basically gang-related behavior, and he's in prison, right? And that's not counting also the gun thing with the Gilbert Arenas and all that. But the reality is, these guys, no matter how they grew up, no matter what backgrounds they have, they get to the league and they are introduced to other elements that are around. And this is not new. This has happened all the way going back into the 70s. There are always undesirable elements that hang around to have access, and some people are swayed by that. I'm not saying that's what happened to Ja Morant. I'm just saying, if it did, it wouldn't be the first time this has happened in our league.
Amin, good talking to you. Let's see if we talk to you later this week at the trade deadline. Thank you, sir.
I hope I have my laptop because my arm is numb right now from holding my phone up.
All right. Thank you.
Making me dizzy.
It's Thursday, legume cutting time on Thursday. We're going to get to Stugotz's weekend observations in a second, but I should tell the audience that tomorrow on YouTube we will be debuting our music video. I have only seen small portions of it. A music video will be debuting as Stugotz and Billy head to the Super Bowl. God Bless Football is going to cover us there. I really hate this week.
It'll be fine. Dan, we're kicking off Super Bowl week the right way. I don't know if you saw Tom Brady's Twitter, and if you want, I can just wait while you go look at Tom Brady's Twitter.
No, let me have it.
So I guess Tom Brady, I don't know if you saw, he has a line of clothing or whatever, right? And back in June last year, he said, if this gets 40,000 retweets, I'll recreate this photo. And it was a man posing in Tom Brady underwear. So Tom Brady has recreated that photo this morning, covering his hands, covering his, penile area. But the background, I mean, I'm not even
Penile area?
Yeah, I'm not even. Yeah, is that not it?
Well, I mean, Whittingham would just say penis, covering his penis.
It's penal colony. The background is great, I would say.
Well, tell me more about this photo. You're breaking news that
just go to twitter.com, put in Tom Brady, you can see it.
I don't want to see. I'm
what
asking
are you doing?
you. I don't want to see.
He looks good.
Yeah, he looks great.
His hair is very dark.
I want to be where he is. Wherever he is, it looks great.
Mike Ryan has said his hair is actually white, that it's Kenny Stabler's hair.
I think he's right. Yeah.
And
he looks like Dexter.
Yeah.
Kind of looks like Giselle a little bit. Right? A little bit.
Huh.
They started looking like each
But the background, Dan, the palm trees, the ocean, get me there.
Well, explain to me.
He's totally coming back.
Explain to me what is happening with the situation on eBay where someone has actually bid $90,000 on the sand that was near Tom Brady when he made his retirement.
Genius. I should have thought of that and ran over there and grabbed as much sand as possible.
Yeah.
There's always somebody a step ahead of you.
We correctly identified the beach on it's not on South Beach. It's a bit north of here, where his video took place. We identified it almost straight away. Yeah. But I learned from our Cards with Mike Schur segment that there's a difference between what something is put up for sale on eBay and what it actually sells for. So
these are bids.
Yeah. Are there?
This is an ongoing auction. I wonder, how does eBay work? Who can explain how that works? Because
what do you mean by that?
Well, there are auctions and people bid for stuff.
Yeah, but no one is gonna actually pay $90,000 for that sand.
Once you put the bid in, you're obligated to.
No, I don't think
There's
it
a legal
works like
obligation,
that.
Bill. There
really?
is.
And then they go and you're like, oh well, my checking account has $27, so I'm just in the
I'm
hole.
not saying
for
the vetting
80.
is great. I'm just saying you have some sort of obligation. Once
I
you
don't
agree
think
to,
so.
Once you agree to eBay's terms,
I think he's asking is how strong is the obligation, right? Is somebody going to come knock on the door and be like, buddy, you owe me $90,000
like
for
the person
sand.
that put in $87,000 as a joke and is like, please, someone outbid me, and then it got to 90, and then 90 is also a jokester. Then do they chase down the person who bid $87,000? Because these things always get to outrageous prices, and you're like, no one will ever pay this money for this. Why would they? People are doing it for Splash Mountain water.
Billy, they have to.
What? Or what?
Or you'll go bankrupt.
Splash.
Woody is so upset at the notion that you would make a bid and then not honor the bid. He is.
I don't have to. You agree to the terms. You place a bid.
No.
You give your credit card information. It deducts $99,000 from your account.
No.
Stugotz is laughing at you and pointing at the very idea. Look at Whitty, how cute, thinking someone has to abide by their word.
He's adorable.
Stugotz is looking at you, you fool. Yeah, you just tell people, I got this money, and then you never give it to them. And sometimes you get your leg broken by somebody sinister, and sometimes eBay's like, whatever.
It's like any other online commerce store. You put your credit card in, you go to pay for something, and then when it comes time to pay, you pay.
No.
No? You think there are people flaking on eBay bids all the time?
I would love to see the world
not?
through your eyes just for a day.
Yeah.
I really would. I mean,
I don't know who is right here. I want to believe in the world.
Oh, Woody's right. I mean,
You want to believe in a
but
world
also
where
wrong.
you want to believe in a world where someone's legitimately paying $90,000 for sand.
I want to believe in a world that if you bid $90,000 for sand, there are consequences. that you can't just bid $90,000 for sand and you walk away and it doesn't cost you anything, just finger guns. Aha,
you don't get the sand though. That's the consequence.
So, I mean, now here's a question. Because, like, if I bid $90,000 and I got stuck having to pay $90,000, well, I can't expense it. But what I would say, well, I don't feel comfortable paying this. That's stolen property. Like, this person doesn't own this sand.
Sand is not stolen property.
It 100%
No,
is.
it's not. Just like ducks, you can take it.
I wouldn't trust Tony on this.
Why not?
It depends on where the sand is. I'm sure if the sand belongs to somebody and then you sell it to for $90,000 off of someone's land, I'm guessing that they have a legal claim given that it's their land. This is just beach sand, though. This is a really absurd thing to be going for $90,000, and I think it's just because money money's not the thing that it used to be. That currency is falling apart. There are haves and have-nots, and there are a lot of people out there who could flippantly throw 90,000 crypto dollars at something. And the crypto isn't really crypto because they want to be internet famous for 4 minutes.
So there's policies on shill bidding at eBay. But this is more so in regards to employees, family members, people who know the seller jacking up the price and putting in fake bids so that they get more money for it.
We're going to get to Stugotz's weekend observations in a second.
I can't believe Amin misspelled rings.
How did that happen?
He put 4 Z's as one.
And he wanted me to spell it with him. I mean,
how is that possible that he forgot about the N in rings? Stugotz's weekend observations next.
I'll spend all night out in Venice, then make castles in the sand. Santa Monica's calling, but I'm here to cover the Rams. I'll stay in and avoid chateaus. If I booze, then I'm on Skid Row. Just one drink to begin, not like that's a big sin. Just one beer, then we're gonna go to the Super Bowl.
Now, Mike, you know we're here to cover the big game. It's a time to be professional and avoid all the temptations the City of Angels may have to offer. Ain't that right, Jess and Kate?
That's right. We're just here to ask quirky questions to grown men wearing their full uniforms without pads in a convention hall.
Oh my God, is that George Clooney? It is!
Baby one scotch at the Roxy.
Oh man, Rick Rouse, the biggest boss that we've seen thus far. Holy moly. My boy don't give a damn about putting his boobs in everybody's face. Salute to that boy, but no sir. Keep your shirt closed. We don't want to see that. Amin Elhassan, holy moly. I ain't seen my boy with a suit on since that day. My boy pull up in a friend shirt or fiend shirt every time I see him. It's either that yellow soccer jersey or either some new Yamaha, whatever they got. My boy can't dress for damn. I see you though. Salute to my brother. I don't even know who this is. That's that Bad Bunny. Look, Bad Bunny making moves. He touring the world. He making girls fall out everywhere he go, every city he go. He look crazy as hell. He got some bullshit on most of the time I ever seen him in my life. But he's going up. Billy Gill. Boy, you shouldn't have put that goddamn one piece on that day. That's what you shouldn't have did. Now, you should have raced the freeze, but you could have raced that motherfucker in some jogging pants and a t-shirt or a tank top. Dan LeBatard, that's the big dog. He changed my life. Don't wear that shit again, ever in your life again. Boy, you got on some bikini drawers and you let somebody paint your chest. Don't ever do that, though. You my big brother, and I got your back. I'll jump in a gunfight with you. But don't do that. You feel me? You got James Harden, what in the Dick Tracy elbow shoulder straps you got on, boy? That I don't even know where would you buy that? Like, I don't know. A little baby must have had that on and he just said, fuck it, me too. Salute the Russell Westbrook, bruh. Boy, you got your knees out and your ankles out. Salute the Russell Westbrook. First and foremost, I fuck with you. If anybody don't fuck with you, I fuck with you. But boy, why is your navel out in this shirt, boy? You got a bandana, what you crippin'? I mean, I know you from LA, so shit, salute to every side of the world. But boy, if you gonna be crippin', you gotta put some socks on with that, goddamn boy. If you look like you goddamn a heathen. Salute to all the women out there, I see you. Never catch me on film, trashing the black lady. That's my sister. I got your back forever, Serena and Venus. Salute to my no comment. Salute to my sister. My sister Trevor Lawrence. I see you out there. Stugotz. Hey, if he still look like that these days, that'll be an improvement. The only thing about that is he done had about 30 more pounds and about 20 more dead shows. My boy Hot to Top Stu, but he always nice to me. I got them fuck with you, big bruh. Boy, who is that, Tim? I'm the Tim Duncan. Drive the rock and I'll show you something. Pants wearing ass boy. What the fuck? That shirt baggy as hell. Who that in the middle? The Glen Rice? Or, boy, that's the Diesel, goddamn. Yeah, I mean, make the Diesel look like Glen Rice. It was a different time though. Big Suits was in. Zoot Suits. And here we go. Biggie Smiles and down Tupac Shakur. Salute to the big dog. That's a cool ass picture. You know what? If they look like that all the time, I wouldn't have no problem with them. You know what I mean? Drop the album coming soon. I got a feature on that motherfucker.
I'll spend all night out in Venice, then make castles in the sand. Santa Monica's calling, but I'm here to cover the Rams. I'll stay in and avoid chateaus. If I booze, then I'm on Skid Row. Just one drink to begin, not like that's a big sin. Just one beer, then we're gonna go to the Super Bowl.
Now, Mike, you know we're here to cover the big game. It's a time to be professional and avoid all the temptations the City of Angels may have to offer. Ain't that right, Jess and Kate?
That's right. We're just here to ask quirky questions to grown men wearing their full uniforms without pads in a convention hall.
Oh my God, is that George Clooney? It is!
Baby one scotch at the RIGZZZZZ.
Come on now!
One shot at whiskey, a go-go.
There we go! Now we're drinking to avoid temptations, but a job to do. Professionals with a drink or two. Just a thin bowl of gin, and then I'll be locked in. After gin, then we're gonna go to the Super Bowl. To the Super Bowl. Super Bowl.
I mean, we have been locked up for a while.
Yeah, there's no rule against covering the big game and enjoying La La Land.
Wait a minute, it's the Walk of Fame. So much to see instead of the big game. And the traffic is bad on La Brea. So come on, join me in poppin' tequila.
Get it!
I'm just here to drink and find Lewis Hamilton.
Guys, Tom Brady. Need a shotgun of beer or what?
I don't feel so good. I am genuinely fucked up right now.
To the Super Bowl. To the Super Bowl. Super
Let's do another round of shots. One more round.
It's showtime, buddy!
Stugotz to share his game notes. No one in the media will tell you what happened better than my boy Stu.
Weekend observations brought to you by Miller Lite. Great taste, 96 calories, available for delivery. Dan, it's been a few years, but here we go. It's my wheelhouse. It's where I want to live. And what I want sports radio to be like all the time. WFAN, WIP, WEEI, and of course, 95.7 The Bone. Producers fighting over Dick Butkus and Mike Golick Sr. to come on their show for 10 minutes to pitch a product and give a prediction.
God.
It's heaven.
I mean, look at Billy. Billy is all.
It's heaven.
Billy does not want to get on a plane. He's got to rush out of here.
I don't.
On a bird.
Is it too late?
He's going to spend the whole week trying to wrangle Stugotz.
I think we're right next to Tony Bruno.
No, we're not.
I'm pretty positive.
Legend of the game. And no one in the history of sports radio works it like me and Billy Gill. Dan, it is Super Bowl week.
Billy, why are you shaking
We're
your head?
headed to Arizona.
Billy, why is this a
Because
suffering
we're at
for
the
you?
portion of the planning where you don't need to work it anymore. Like, let's just follow through with the plan. It was already planned out. Just stick to the schedule and we'll be fine. If anything, we already have too much scheduled.
The plan always changes, Billy. That's what Radio Row is all about. And just like that, Dano, Radio Row is back. I mean, Billy, 1 second you're talking to, Gil Brandt, and the next second you're talking to Mike Golick and Jaws. That's what it's all about.
He's not wrong, because, I'd like these things just to be locked in, but Dan, 25 minutes ago, they're like, do you want Deebo Samuel on Wednesday? Not going to say no.
Yeah, Deebo, come on.
Billy, just when you think you have the answers, Radio Row changes the question. I mean, how about that?
I think he's promoting, Wells Fargo or something, like a bank.
So what?
Yeah.
I mean...
I don't understand why you guys like this so much.
You got to go. Next year,
awful.
Dan, go with us next year.
Awful. Billy, you don't want to go.
I know.
Next year's in Vegas.
Vegas.
Yeah,
Vegas,
go with us next year.
Vegas.
Go with us next year.
God.
Vegas.
Billy, you don't want to go.
That's true. I don't. It's a business trip, though.
Yeah.
Dan, look, you started a business in the pandemic. I'm sure there's things that you don't want to do. And this is one of them. We got to do things just to keep the train on the tracks. You know what I mean?
Yep. Next year.
I hate everything about this week. Everything.
Top 5 radio hosts who know how to work Radio Row. This is all time.
Do you remember when you wanted the whole show to go to Australia for the Super Bowl to get as far away from it as possible?
Mm-hmm.
Who was it that was making the comment? I thought we might be able to get away with this week, never mentioning it. Just talking about other things and never once mentioning the Super Bowl.
Number 5, Kevin Rogers. K-Raj. Little reminder, Mike.
Do you have that, Mike? Do you have the sound of K-Raj on Radio Row, 7 p.m. at night, just shouting into the halls of a convention center?
What else we got? Oh, my God. Ray Lewis is here. Can we get Ray Lewis on the show before my tongue falls off? Ray freaking Lewis in the house. Wow. Hey, Ray, you got a couple minutes? Ray! Let's see. Oh, whatever. Ray Lewis walks in and my tongue is bleeding. Wow.
That's not even the one I wanted. I wanted Lincoln Kennedy.
Do you have an all-time favorite Vin Scullyism?
Sorry, that was Bryan Cranston on Vince Scully.
We'll get to that.
course,
We'll get to that later in the
Lincoln
show.
Kennedy, what's up, man? Yeah, I'm working. Where you going? You on the FHM party tonight? You going to FHM tonight? All right. I'll see you later.
So great. We actually have the guy calling the game in Australia this year, Dan.
That is true.
Steve Levy. He leaves.
Number 4.
Mike Golick Sr. This man knows how to work it. This man knows how to pitch a product. I mean,
Are you jealous that Jessica's going to be hanging out with him all week? And
Totally. Yeah.
Not really. Dude, Mike Golick is going to, I don't want to put anyone's business out there. He's going to make more this week than I make in 3 years. 100%.
Just wandering around doing interviews?
I think he has 8 products. 8?
We started an interview with Golick. He had 4 products to pitch. By the end of that interview, 20 minutes later, it was up to 8. I mean, this guy.
Number 3.
Sid Rosenberg. Sid the Kid. I mean,
Number 2.
Christopher Mad Dog Russo.
You're going to have him on God Bless Football, aren't you?
5 times.
I saw Tua is on the list. Number 1.
Me. I can't wait.
If you go.
Yeah, we'll see.
If you catch your flights.
H-Town, here we come. Dan, as long as there's an NFL, there will be a job for Brian Schottenheimer. Enjoy this week, everyone, and don't take it for granted. You included, Dan, because soon it will just be baseball and Joey Chestnut. That's it. I'll say yes to him. July 4th, stupidity. He'll come on. It's a staple. It's a tradition unlike any other. But I'm telling you, we're going to be left with just baseball and a hot dog eating contest. That's it.
I know what day of the year it is on the basis of when we get the pitch email for Joey Chestnut.
God's taste says yes every time.
I love him.
It's the tradition like none other. Asking Joey Chestnut, hey, what are your shits like after you eat all those hot dogs?
I ask him that every
That's a
year.
good
You're
question.
right.
That's a good question.
What else do you ask Joey?
The thing is, you ask him that every time, and what's his answer? You haven't listened once.
I have no idea.
You haven't listened one time.
Somehow he gets more boring every year. But I'll take him. And I'll also enjoy this week, man. Like, big football game, NBA trade deadline.
Ask him a few questions about Tums or whatever.
Yeah.
You know he's going to be there, Stugotz.
Joey or Noe, I mean.
Now you have to have him on to play Joey or Noe.
I want him tomorrow.
God bless football every day from the Super Bowl.
LeBron James, compiler, all-time leading scorer, 4 titles, 1 in a bubble, second all-time leading scorer, 6 titles. Kareem wins.
I think we've changed the game to Noe Yes Nut. Is it a Noe
Oh,
or
wow.
a Yes Nut?
Get him on today.
It's good. That's what we're going to send him there for. That's what we're going to send him to the
See,
Super Bowl for.
The questions are already changing.
Follow what's on the paper.
I can't.
Billy, you're not going to be able to corral him. He's just going to defecate content all week, and you're going to
Billy, no, yes, nuts. I mean,
he's going to wander around talking to everybody, and then just go to the parties and leave behind you to edit it all.
I can't wait until Billy says to Stugotz, we have 9 minutes with this member of the Baltimore
9
Ravens.
minutes.
And Stugotz is in minute 22 of Noe or Yes Nut.
Kevin Durant, you really know how to pick them. Brooklyn Nets, you're better off without him, I think. I don't know. It's a balloon. Shoot it the fuck down and let's move on. Top 5 people in sports and entertainment that can own a balloon.
Oh, no. This is not going to go well for me. Oh, okay. It might not be shape related. Let's see what we've got here.
Number 5, Vivian Stringer.
Yeah.
Got it, Tom? Good.
The string.
Yeah. It's hard. It was hard to come up with 5.
Was it hard?
I thought it was just another person I didn't know.
Number 4, John Popper. It was hard. Number 3, Jadeveon Clowney. Number 2, Curtis Blow. And number 1, Helio Castroneves.
Billy, why are you shaking your head?
We turned around and said if he doesn't do Air Jordan, he failed.
Oh, God. They shot it down.
Thought he was going to go Louis Lips.
My list.
Yes, agreed.
Helio was good.
Thank you. I regret, though, Air Jordan. Damn. This is what happens when you take football away from me. And us. We pay attention to a balloon the entire weekend. What are we doing? In less than a year, the Nets went from Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and James Harden to Kevin Durant, Dorian Finney-Smith, and the Curry brother no one wants. Oof.
No.
I mean, damn, they did.
What's wrong with Seth Curry? Why don't you like Seth Curry?
He's like one of the best shooters in the league.
Okay. Shoots like 40% from 3.
Okay, fine. I'm sorry, Seth.
I mean,
I had no idea you had these kind of feelings for him. I apologize.
I just don't understand. I mean, he'd be a great basketball player if not for the existence of his brother.
47% from 3 last year.
It's great. No one wants him.
I thought he was the missing piece in Brooklyn.
So did I, actually.
I thought he was going to be the shooter that they needed.
You know what else happens when you take football away? Mo Bamba and Austin Rivers getting the first real NBA fight since the Malice at the Palace.
I'm nothing will make me feel older in basketball than both of those guys immediately going to social media afterward to take the trash talk to another level, and Austin Rivers threatening to chalk out Mo Bamba, not choke him out. Chalk him out.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what is that?
I don't know.
What is that? You're professional basketball players.
Are they?
Your dad played in the NBA. You went to Duke.
Mm-hmm. Dan, you know what the B in Mo Bamba stands for?
I do not.
Brawler. Austin Rivers claiming one of the few NBA cities he hasn't played in as his city. Austin, the Stugotz is strong in you. How is Orlando Austin Rivers City?
Because his dad coached there?
I mean, he grew up in Winter Park.
I don't care.
Okay, there you have it.
Touché,
Austin Rivers is not allowed to have it.
God.
It is weird, though, right? To go to social media and start threatening each other on social media? No.
That's what happens.
Yeah.
But since
I mean,
when?
Draymond went to his podcast to talk about all the shit that he started last year.
Mm-hmm.
When did that start? It's a strange thing, an NBA fight ending with both guys ending up in their social media still talking shit. That used to happen next to the bus.
The Grammys have become an annual celebration of Beyonce and Taylor Swift, as if no one else out there is making music. Please. That's right. I stepped into the beehive.
No.
And took all the Swifties out.
No.
At the exact same time.
Unwise.
Dangerous game.
Unwise.
I don't care. I'm tired of this celebration every year. The two of them. Oh, seriously.
No.
Bonnie Raitt, good for you.
Juju, don't clip that. Juju, he doesn't want that smoke.
Colorado State. There's no way I'm the first to inform you that no apology is acceptable for chanting Russia at an opposing team's guard who is Ukrainian. Sean Payton fired the Broncos defensive coordinator. You know what he's doing, Dan?
Cleaning house.
Yeah, wow, look at you. Amazing. Dan, don't look now. But the college basketball season gets underway in a few weeks. And a few weeks after that, it ends. Watch out for FAU, the Owls, at a Conference USA, 22-2, 12-1 inside the conference. Dusty May, one of the great young coaches we have in America, tearing up the Blue Martini. Enjoy him now, Boca. He won't be there for long. Balanced, deep team, 9-man rotation, and of course, experienced guard play.
Yes.
Davian McKnight.
We've got our team.
Junior guard, 16.5 points per game. Emmanuel Acott. Senior guard play, Dan. 10.7 points per game. Dan, don't be surprised if the Owls find themselves in the Elite Eights.
Oh, my God.
Did you know they were this good?
I knew they were good. I didn't know that they were don't be surprised good.
Jeez. They're going to be like a 4 seed.
Don't be surprised. Is Jim Boeheim claiming they bought their team too?
He apologized.
He has apologized. Jim Boeheim. Mike Ryan was looking at his watch, thinking to himself when he was going to walk it back because everybody was going to go to Boeheim in Syracuse and say, do you know how much dirty money we paid people over the years? Please shut up.
Dan, you know what the D in Dusty May stands for?
I do not.
Definitely renting. Seems like Joe Tsai finally had enough. One might say he was Josiah himself.
No.
Thank you.
No.
Thank you. I'm so proud of that.
No.
Proud of it.
The delivery for me.
Got a couple of points.
No.
Yeah.
You have diluted the worth of the Hakeem Nicks laugh
Come on, man.
by giving it there.
Joe
He was
Tsai
Joe
himself.
Side himself.
Come on.
Better the second time.
Bad ally and Tony.
The laser from John Morant's entourage aimed at the Pacers was really just coming from Morant's eyes.
He's fun to watch, man.
He's so good. What's going on there, though?
Yeah. Well, if it's just fooling around with lasers, okay. If it's
Just go to social media and complain about it like everyone else.
yes.
Report: Suns to pursue KD if he becomes available. My report: it still won't be enough for Chris Paul to win a title, and even if he does, it won't count in my personal record book.
Really? You're already announcing that.
Not for CP3, no. He needs KD now to win him a championship. Devin Booker's not enough. Jesus. It's never enough for that guy. Ever. Luka wanting to beat the holy hell out of Kyrie inside of a month. Collision course. Speaking of hell, Art Briles. Dan, those are the weekend observations. Joe Side himself.
I'll spend all night out in Venice, then make castles in the sand. Santa Monica's calling, but I'm here to cover the Rams. I'll stay in and avoid chateaus. If I booze, then I'm on Skid Row. Just one drink to begin, not like that's a big sin. Just one beer, then we're gonna go to the Super Bowl.
Now, Mike, you know we're here to cover the big game. It's a time to be professional and avoid all the temptations the city of Angels may have.
Talking about watching Karate Kid and coming to the conclusion that Miyagi's an asshole who started that whole thing.
No. Daniel LaRusso's an asshole who started that thing. Miyagi's a bully who beat up children.
Huh.
Yes.
Really?
I mean, think about it. They have the fight at the beach, Stugotz, right?
Yeah.
And the next day, you know, Daniel's walking around with a black eye, but it's kind of settled after that. We're going to the dance. He goes to dance. He's dancing with Elizabeth Shue. He says, let me go to the bathroom. He goes to the bathroom. He hears that Johnny is in the stall smoking weed, like rolling up a joint, which, by the way, I thought was very risque for the 80s. Oh, my God, he's just out here rolling a joint in the bathroom. He could just leave well enough alone, as Johnny would later say, by the way. You couldn't leave well enough alone, which is a very 20CB statement. But he doesn't. He goes, he takes a hose, he stands on top of like the stall because Johnny's got his headphones on. He can't hear anything.
And he's dressed for Halloween like a shower,
yes,
right?
like a
so
shower.
People wouldn't know who he is.
With the shower curtain and everything.
Where do we lose the shipping container on all of this? Whittingham, any familiarity with the Karate Kid?
None.
None?
I've never seen Karate Kid.
So I saw a piece of the Karate Kid. It was at a baseball camp when it rained. And they're like, hey, we're going to watch the Karate Kid. And then I just never went back. I think that's where my hatred for baseball started.
And Jessica,
I think you have to clarify because they might think it's the Jaden Smith.
Yeah.
version.
And it's also not Cobra Kai either.
It's the prequel, right? If you're watching Cobra Kai and you haven't seen Karate Kid, what are you doing with your life?
Mm-hmm.
You lost me at Warren Beatty. I'm not gonna lie.
Anyway, getting back to you're going.
What a heartthrob
he was, man.
Oh, he really was.
Heaven Can Wait.
The football scenes in that are so bad. You have to watch Heaven Can Wait football scenes where Warren Beatty's the quarterback and he's basically shot putting the football 4 yards to show athletic grace at quarterback. Anyway, you were saying.
So Daniel LaRusso takes the hose and he puts it over the stall unbeknownst to Johnny. Then he goes and he turns all the water, drenching this dude, who, by the way, has makeup on for his Halloween costume. So it's not like I just got wet. You got my mascara wet.
I'll spend all night out in Venice, then make castles in the sand. Santa Monica's calling, but I'm here to cover the Rams. I'll stay in and avoid chateaus.
The show began today with a disturbing admission and invitation into the CBD-soaked mind and dreams of one Mike Ryan. The conversation that ended with Dave Burba and a dream that involved Dave Burba is one that was started around Mike Schur, who said to everyone involved that he did not want to do the best number 4 starters names ever.
Not the
today.
best, the ones that make you smile.
Yes.
The ones that make you smile. Thank you for the correction.
Very important.
And then when he comes on today, what he says is he now has, he didn't want to look it up, didn't want to do the work. He's doing too much work at Meadowlark Media, way too much work. You have how many outside looking in for number 4 baseball starters from the 90s whose name makes you smile?
I have 8 OLIs now.
That a boy.
If you want more Mike Schur, you could get his podcast with Joe Posnanski where they're opening baseball cards and raising money for a good cause.
I want to read this text exchange because last night Woody floated the idea number 4 starters tomorrow, and Mike responded, I honestly don't think I have it in me. Takes too much time and I'm still sick. I said, I'm ready with Jerry Royce. Mike came back with Al Nipper. I said Scott Sanderson. He said, fine, I'll do it.
Okay, so it wasn't even much of a negotiation. You threw 2 names this way, and all of a sudden, now this is threatening his marriage. Okay, he's got a big life, and his office is filled with discarded baseball cards now, and his wife is worried about him officially because he's buying too many cards and spending too much time in general with an important life, just doing this crap every day. But let's go ahead and do it. Outside looking in, number 4 starters from the 90s whose names make you smile.
So wait a second. You have how many OLI?
8.
8. All right, I have 3.
I have 17.
I have 3.
Okay, so Chris has to give his first 9, and then Mike and Chris exchange for a bit until we get down to 3.
All right, we start. Let's see if we can keep this in order. Let's go. Chris Cote, number 17, outside looking in.
Adam Eaton.
Number 16.
Jeff Facero.
Number 15.
Mark Gardner.
14.
Omar Dahl.
13.
Steve Carsey.
12.
Sterling Hitchcock.
11.
Brian Moeller.
10.
Odalis Perez.
Number 9.
Brett Tomko.
Number 8.
Victor Zambrano.
Mike Schur, number 8.
Wait, you blew it because I have 13 total. I have 8 OLIs. Oh, he has 17 OLIs.
Yeah.
Oh, not 17 total. Great.
Yes.
Sorry, my bad.
That's okay.
Number 8, Al Nipper.
Oh, wow.
Number 7, Chris Cote.
Sean Estes.
Number 7, Mike Schur.
Terry Mulholland.
It's a good name. Number 6, Chris Cote.
Julian Tavares.
Also good. Mike Schur. It's good when you get a head nod of agreement. It's sort of a tip of the cap.
Now, remember, when you get down to 3 OLIs, you have to bring in the group.
Thank you,
okay?
Stugotz. I appreciate it. This won't get confusing at all. Number 6, Mike Schur.
Rick Honeycutt.
Oh, wow.
That's a good name.
Amazing.
Number 5, Chris Cote.
Scott Kamenecki.
Number 5, Mike Schur. A genuine chortle from Mike Schur on that one. Number 5, Mike Schur.
Kyle Abbott.
Wow.
Number 4.
He went 1-14 one year. I just want to get that on the record.
Number 4, Chris Cote.
Doug Davis.
Number 4, Mike Schur.
Pedro Estacio.
Wow.
Number 3, Chris Cote.
I'm just trying to figure out which of these I haven't said yet. Matt Clement.
Number 3, Mike Schur.
He's more of a 3. I
agree.
For the record. Number 3, Dennis Rasmussen.
That's a good name. Excellent name. Such slop from that guy. Number 3, Stugotz.
Chris Bosio.
That's a good one. Stugotz starting strong. Number 2, Chris Cote.
Ramiro Mendoza.
Finger point from Stugotz. Number 2, Mike Schur.
Well, we need Witties first, right?
Oliver Perez.
Excellent.
He's still pitching, I think. I don't think he is. He was like a year ago, though, I think.
I think he's so. No. Let's
He
see.
can't still be pitching.
Every now and again, he looked like an ace. He would.
It's like 51.
No.
He was in the Pirates bullpen for 42 years.
Diamondbacks last year.
1-1.
No.
1-1.
That can't be the same
15
person.
ERA.
No, that is not the same person.
It is.
No, it is not.
It is.
On April 22nd, 2022, Perez re-signed with the Toros de Tijuana of the Mexican League.
Number 2, Mike Schur.
This is for you, Stu. Sid Fernandez.
Thank you. El Cid.
Number 2, Stugotz.
Kevin Tapani.
That's a good name. Your number 1 outside looking in, Chris Cote.
Nelson Figueroa.
Oh, wow. Excellent. Well done.
Tremendous.
How have you guys not had any repeats? How are you not stepping on each other?
That's a great question.
It's unbelievable.
When he said he's got 17 and we're in the same era, I was terrified. He's only ruined one of mine.
One of Mike Schur's OLI is in my top 5, so.
Nelson Figueroa had a window,
He
man.
did.
Yeah.
A tiny window.
Yeah, he was like a good fantasy pickup at one point in time.
Put it on the poll, Juju. Did Nelson Figueroa have a tiny window? Number 1, Whittingham.
Casey Fossum.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's
one.
The
great.
Blade.
That's a
That's
good one.
great.
His nickname was the Blade because he was very thin.
Number 1, Mike Schur.
Pete Shorrock.
Number 1, Stugotz.
This is for you, Mike. Larry Gurra.
Someone just punched Mike Schur.
You know, it has come to my attention that a lot of people don't like this segment, and to you I say, go bleep yourselves.
Yes.
This is the most fun I've ever had in my entire life in the last week of doing this.
Got him to stand up out of his chair.
There is nothing better than last night at like 11 p.m., just alone in my living room, when I would stumble across one that I put on my list, the fist pump that I would give myself. I was like, yes, Omar Dahl. Yes.
You guys aren't the ones, though, getting the messages from Schur. My only objective is to drive your listenership down to 0.
That's right. I want to take this. The only way out of this forced employment is to end the show. So I will do this as long as I have to until DraftKings just pulls their funding.
Number 5's tomorrow.
Well, we haven't even gotten to the top 5 yet. Number 4, starters whose names make you smile. Number 5, Chris Cote.
Andy Ashby.
Number 5, Whittingham.
Ryan Vogelsong.
Wow.
Good name. Number 5, Mike Schur.
Kip Wells.
It's a good one. It is. It's a good one. There's such mediocre pitchers. It's just
They're fours.
It's just a wild array of just we have consumed and had embedded in our minds such pitching mediocrity. It's just stuck there. It's like cleaning out an old room. Number 5, Stugotz.
Mike Bilecki.
Good one.
Thank you.
Number 4, Chris Cote.
Wait, no, hold on. No, don't we
Yes.
have to decide who the perfect number 5
The
is?
number
of those
5.
guys?
Yes. Yes. I like Whittingham.
That's how this goes.
Yeah.
We caucus.
Mine was Ryan Vogelsong.
Bilecki for me.
We got to
Kip
pick
Wells.
from among us who has the best one.
For me, it's Kip Wells or Vogelson.
Yeah.
Definitive number 5, Dan. You can be the
I'll
arbiter.
vote for Vogelsong.
Okay.
That's the number 5, number 4.
Congrats, Whitty.
Number 4. Who's the number 4? Number 4.
Glendon Rush.
Wow. Had a window as well. He did.
I feel really good about that one. I'm just gonna smile because I just said that name. I'm good.
Put it on the poll, Juju. Did Glendon Rush also have a window? Number 4, Whittingham.
Andy Sonnenstein.
He was proud of that one. He nailed the
Said it with a bluster.
He
Yes.
nailed the delivery on that. Number 4, Schur.
You want to talk about a guy who had a window? How about Sean Chacon?
Oh, wow, he did.
Number 4, Stugotz.
For you, Mike, Steve McCaddy.
I think Whittingham wins again though. McCaddy's good. McCaddy's good. He's late 80s. He's facial hair. But say it again, Whittingham.
Andy Sonnenstein.
Yeah, we got to give it to him.
Number 3, Chris Cote.
This is where I have what Mike Schur said. Terry Mulholland.
Kirk Sarloos.
He was on my number 4 list. 3 list, sorry.
Go ahead, Mike.
Real Cormier.
Oh, wow.
That's a good one. A Real. You don't get a Real.
I think of him mostly as a left-handed specialist out of the pen. How long did he start?
He was like maybe more of a spot starter, but he was, he threw 186 innings in 1992, 159 in 96.
That's all it takes.
Born before, they played before Pulp Fiction. It could have been Real with cheese. Didn't throw very hard, though. It was kind of. Sure. Number 3, sure.
He did his. I think I'm up.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Me, Calvin Schiraldi.
Just keep apologizing.
Nick's laugh will never matter again because of how you've used it today.
Joe side himself.
And number 2. Oh wait, have we picked?
We had a caucus. We had a caucus
here.
Yeah. Mulholland, Sarloos, Cormier, and Schiraldi.
Schiraldi is more of a reliever, I would say, even more than Cormier.
Cormier is pretty relievy.
I like Sarloos.
But he was on a Schur list previously. So
On a number
process
3,
of elimination.
number 3 starter list.
All right, so we'll go for Terry Mulholland then.
All right.
Mulholland it is. Number 2, Chris Cote.
Tomo Oka.
Really good.
So good.
Feels so good about that
That's
one.
a good one. Number 2, Whittingham.
Tanyan Sturts.
Wow.
That's also good. That's also
Yeah, and round 2 right now. That's the answer. That's the winner.
Really?
They
Really?
don't make
Right?
Mauritanians.
I mean,
He had an umlaut over the U.
I want to say for the record, also,
what?
Tomo Oka was on my OOLI list.
Jesus Christ. He really didn't want to do
He
this.
didn't even make it. He didn't even make it. Number 2.
Dennis Lamp.
Wow.
Number 2, Stugotz.
Craig McMurtry.
Oh, wow. That's late 80s, too.
Yeah.
Come on, Tanyan Sturts. Come on.
Who are we going for there? Who's the...
Tanyan starts.
Sturts.
Tanyan starts.
I don't know.
Poor Oka.
Put
This
it
is one
on,
of the greatest days of my life.
put it on the
Amazing.
poll. Whittingham is kicking ass here. Put it on the poll here, though. Tanyan Sturts or Tomo Oka? Who has the funnier name? Chris Cote, number 1.
Oh, man. It's so exciting. Jared Washburn.
Number 2, I feel like.
No.
Maybe
Look at the
He
numbers.
was on my number 3 list.
Look
Look
at the
18
numbers.
wins one year.
Too good.
Yeah.
Number 1, Whittingham.
Jose Lima.
Also,
time.
He had a window.
Had a 21
Yeah.
and 7.
Yeah.
Yeah, 21 and 7 window.
A little
I
too
believe.
good to be a 4. A little too good.
Mm.
Sure. Number 1.
Dennis Springer.
That's a 4.
Number 1, Stugotz.
This is just for Mike. Kirk McCaskill.
Wow. You just got, did you just do the McAfee crotch thing? The Pete
That's what
Weber
I was,
crotch thing?
That's what I was trying to do it sitting down, and I had to do it in the air.
I love how you guys said that Jose Lima is too good. He went 5-16 one year.
Yeah, but he had some years.
At a window.
Yeah.
Yeah, but look at some of the years. He won 20 games one year.
Yeah, he was an all-star in 99, won 21 games.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't be a 20-game winner and be a 4-starter unless you're Rick Helling.
I mean, the rest of his career, though, is ERAs in the 6s.
Right. Helling did that with like a 5 ERA.
Yeah, he did.
At a window. Lima time.
You know who else? Let me throw one more name out there. Jeremy Bonderman.
Wow.
So good.
Great.
I'm glad you threw it out there.
All right, so who's
Yeah.
the number 1, number 4?
All right,
And
so
why
our
is it
options-
Dave Burba?
Our options are
Burba.
Jared Washburn, Jose Lima, Dennis Springer, Kirk McCaskill, and Dave Burba.
Yeah, it's Dave Burba.
It's Dave Burba.
It's Burba.
It's Dave Burba.
It is Burba.
He's dreaming.
Yeah,
Dave
it's
Burba. Let's do stat of the day here and stop wasting everybody's time.
What do you
Start
mean?
of the day, start of the day. It is your start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is your start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is your start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is the start of the day.
Mike, before you go, what is Jose Contreras?
At his peak, he was a 3 and almost a 2.
Yeah.
No, he was the ace of a champion staff.
I don't know.
He wasn't the ace of that staff.
What do you mean he wasn't?
No.
He was the ace of that White Sox staff.
I think he was the number 2 on that White Sox.
He's a
staff.
3.
But that staff had 4 great. That they
we
threw 4
established that
complete games.
Burley is always a number 2.
Yes.
For
But
me,
they sort of had 4 number 2s on that staff. That's why they were so good.
Well, he had the best postseason performance of any of them during that championship run.
Yeah, but remember they threw 4 straight complete games in that playoff.
for me, he fits as a 3. For me, he fits as a 3 in this game.
So the Baseball Reference rotation, the way that they list it, they have Mark Burley as the 1, Freddie Garcia is the 2, John Garland is the 3, Jose Contreras is the 4, and Orlando Hernandez is the 5. The big
There's
O.
5 number 2s, right?
You got to give me his postseason numbers that year. He was better than any of them. What's the stat of the
I'm
day?
on it. Let's fight about this. I like that.
Let's just stay right
First of all,
here.
Yeah. Did you
Forever.
hear Dan
Thank you.
Stone? We're gonna throw down. Lasers were pointed at you.
Well, because we were stolen, as Tony likes to say. You're taking a championship from my people. El Duque and him were great. They came from Cuba, and you desecrate our people when you do this. What's the stat of the day?
I first want to thank Woody for turning on original sound so I could hear the song. Thank you, Woody. Folks, there's only one nugget. There's only one.
Oh, what an untimely time to freeze.
Well, thank you for turning on original audio.
One Warrior, one Pelican, one net, and one AL Star game.
The old
Luka Doncic
interconnect.
and Kyrie Irving.
Mike, sure, you got to start over again. You froze at the beginning of that.
I did?
And then the internet caught up, and it turned you into like
You were talking really fast for a couple seconds.
I feel for the people who listen to this on 1.5.
Who sent you that microphone?
Folks, there's only one nugget. There's only one Celtic. There's only one Buck, one Warrior, one Pelican, one net, and one Cavalier. That means that the only pair of teammates starting in the NBA All-Star game, Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving. Congrats to the Dallas Mavericks for having the most All-Star starters of any team in the NBA.
You froze. Can you do it again?
Folks.
I'll spend all night out in Venice, then make castles in the sand. Santa Monica's calling, but I'm here to cover the Rams. I'll stay in and avoid chateaus. If I booze, then I'm on Skid Row. Just one drink to begin, not like that's a big sin. Just one beer, then we're gonna go to the Super Bowl.
Now, Mike, you know we're here to cover the big game. It's a time to be professional and avoid all the temptations the City of Angels may have to offer. Ain't that right, Jess and Kate?
That's right. We're just here to ask quirky questions to grown men wearing their full uniforms without pads in a convention hall.
Oh my God, is that George Clooney?
Baby one scotch at the
The sound that Roy requested. I don't want to leave today without going back to the just terrible judgment.
Terrible judgment?
Roy's judgment today has been terrible. It began with smiling throughout David Sampson
Grinning.
telling you about his pain. Oh, you forgot about that, didn't you?
Grinning maniacally.
Yeah,
like not just grinning.
Just happy. That legitimately can't stop laughing, as happy as any of us have ever seen you. At the fact
still
that
laughing.
David
Doing it
Sampson,
again.
I'm smiling again.
I don't like this character.
David Sampson,
Terrifying.
David Sampson can't taste or smell. It delights Roy. It is the strangest thing. And then Roy
Still
says,
smiling.
"Yeah, still smiling."
I can't stop.
We have created the apocalyptic scenario where all of us have arrived one day here at work and Stugotz has stolen everything. Nothing works here anymore, but you were granted by a genie, Frankie, our security guy, the wish of going back and getting one thing.
And this is what
One
Roy
thing,
said.
and
I love the visual of Frankie being a genie.
But Frankie grants you the wish of you can go back and get one thing in all the history in this building that's falling apart at the Clevelander, everything that we built at Meadowlark Media. And what is the one thing Roy would go, back in and get?
Run into the end zone, listen to Sperano's roar. Balls underthrown, begging you to catch and go. Hard line to the end zone. Right into the end zone.
This is so painfully bad.
That's why
Why
it's so
would you
great.
want to keep this?
That's why it's so great.
Heading for a touchdown, never gonna happen.
There's more.
What's
Got
even?
you fumbling, what a wreck.
Unintelligible.
And you for defense.
Let the man sing.
Hard line to the end zone.
Brian Hartline,
Right into
former
the
Dolphins receiver.
zone.
Who's now like the best
that the
receivers
one-
coach in the country.
Was that the 1-in-15 Dolphins team?
No,
Yeah.
because there was a Sperano.
Oh, no,
Well, no,
it would have been
finale.
Rio.
It
Was
would've
one
been-
again.
Finale here.
There's more.
Everyone seems to be sold. You know what's coming in the end. We want Andrew Luck, so let's fold.
All right. But that's
The
what
guy,
Roy's
the
keeping.
guy responsible for Jackson Smith and Jigba. This is him.
So this is what I love. Several things. One, beyond being completely off rhythm, what I love is the idea that in my mind's eye, Meadowlark Media is a burning building, right?
It's Chernobyl.
And no, it's like it's a burning building, and everyone's outside on the lawn looking at this. And Roy says, "Wait!" And he runs inside. Like, Roy, what are you doing? And things are collapsing, and
I
beams
got
are
a
collapsing.
flash drive!
I have to
Yes,
go. And then
flash drive!
Roy comes out, and he's got something swaddled.
Swaddled,
And
yeah.
there's smoke coming off him, and the firefighters are putting a blanket on Roy. What are you doing? And then he reveals what he went to save, and it was that song.
Hotlines in the end zone.
Run into the end zone, listen to Sperano's roar. Balls underthrown, begging you to catch and go.
How is it possible?
The end zone.
Wait, just the opening line is probably the funniest thing I've ever heard. Play just the opening part again.
Run into the end zone, listen to Sperano's roar.
Listen to Sperano.
The late Tony Sperano.
Begging you to catch and go.
Roy, I cannot
Rest
believe.
in power.
Hard line to the
End
end
zone.
zone. Right into the end zone.
I'll spend all night out in Venice, then make castles in the sand. Santa Monica's calling, but I'm here to cover the Rams. I'll stay in and avoid chateaus. If I booze, then I'm on Skid Row. Just one drink to begin, not like that's a big sin. Just one beer, then we're gonna go to the Super Bowl.
Now, Mike, you know we're here to cover the big game. It's a time to be professional and avoid all the temptations the City of Angels may have to offer. Ain't that right, Jess and Kate?
That's right. We're just here to ask quirky questions to grown men wearing their full uniforms without pads in a convention hall.
Oh my God, is that George Clooney?
It is! Baby, one scotch at the RIGZZZZZ.
Come on now! One shot at whiskey, a go-go.
There we go!
Now we're drinking to avoid temptations, but a job to do. Professionals with a drink or two. Just a thimble of gin, and then I'll be locked in. After gin, then we're gonna go to the Super Bowl. To the Super Bowl. Super
I mean, we have been locked up for a while.
Yeah, there's no rule against covering the big game and enjoying La La Land.
Wait a minute, it's the Walk of Fame. So much to see instead of the big game. And the traffic is bad on La Brea. So come on, join me in popping tequila.
I'm just here to drink and find Lewis Hamilton. Hey
guys, Tom Brady. Need a shotgun of beer or what? I don't feel so good. I am genuinely fucked up right now.
To the Super Bowl. To the Super Bowl. Super
Let's do another round of shots. One more round.
It's showtime, buddy!
Racism, greed, trauma to brain and spine. And yet, I cannot look away. Heroes are dead. Science has their heads. Oh, is there no escape from here? I need to know. It eats my soul. Nothing stops me, NFL. Is this heaven or hell? I can't tell.
This guy has a way of cutting through the bullshit and getting right at it. So he's from Deep State Radio Pod and the Daily Beast. We talk to him when we need illumination on things that are complicated. So David Rothkopf, thank you for joining us. And I wanted to start. We had Stugotz fled the premises here because he's like, it's a bleeping balloon. Come on, shut up. I don't want to talk about it anymore. Just shoot it down and get it over with. Explain to us what happened with the Chinese balloon, what it means.
Well, I guess the thing I'm inclined to begin with is that it means a lot less than most of the reporting. The Chinese, had a weather balloon, kind of a big one, size of 3 school buses. It floated across the United States. That was more or less what made it unusual. They've sent them over before, and they haven't sort of hovered over the middle of the country for a long time, as they do. Apparently, this happened 3 times during the Trump administration. It has happened in other places in the world. It's not the most high-tech form of surveillance, although the balloon has the ability to steer itself. It's got solar panels. It's got sensors on it, so it's doing something. But I think it has to be put in a broader context. The Chinese have 60 or 70 satellites doing this stuff. We have hundreds and hundreds of satellites doing this stuff. People are surveilling each other all the time. But, we are in a political environment where anything that appears to be weak with regard to the Chinese is unacceptable in either party. And so we turned this into a big deal, canceled the Secretary of State's trip to China, shot down the balloon as soon as it was off the coast of the United States. And, hopefully that'll be that, but probably it won't be.
You're saying much ado about nothing.
I'm saying much ado about something relatively minor. I mean, there's no greater threat than we had before. The satellites are still there. Spies are still around. We're spying on them. They're spying on us. The Russians are spying on us. The Iranians are spying on us. The Israelis and the British and the French, et cetera, et cetera. People are doing their thing. This is a tiny, tiny part of that. But it was visible, and it just got bigger and bigger, in the political debate here. And I think that's the thing. The balloon was the size of 3 school buses, but the discussion, because of the overheated politics in the United States, was disproportionately larger than that.
Greater threat to American democracy, China or America?
Oh, no question about it, America. Chris Wray, the head of the FBI, has testified in front of the Congress that the greatest imminent threat that we face right now is from extremists in the United States. That's obvious. I mean, they attacked the Capitol of the United States. They attacked our election system. The assault on our democracy continues on multiple fronts, in the courts and in different states, cutting back on freedoms like the ability to read certain books in school or the ability to teach certain aspects of our history. So, with the real threat to American democracy, much as, Abraham Lincoln predicted it would be, is coming from within.
Tell us how great a threat China is or isn't.
I think China is our most serious rival on the world stage. Russia has many more nuclear weapons, but China has a much larger economy, an economy that is continuing to grow. It has many, many more people. It has much greater standing on the world stage. The question is whether you view China as a rival, competitor, or as an adversary and enemy. I think there are a lot of things in which we have agreement with the Chinese and with which we need to work with the Chinese, whether it's climate or fighting pandemics or trying to keep a lid on North Korea or other conflicts. The Chinese have played behind the scenes a semi-constructive role with regard to sending a message to Russia that they were unhappy with how they were handling Ukraine. But they disagree with us on a lot of things. They want to have the same stage on the world stage, same status on the world stage that we do. And they're growing their military very rapidly. They're growing their nuclear force very rapidly. It's still much, much smaller than ours, but they're growing it. And so I think we need to be wary. I think we need to keep an eye on them. I think we will bump heads with them on a number of issues. But I don't think, and here there are people who disagree with me, but I don't think their goal is, global conquest like the Soviet Union's was. I think their goal is to be seen as one of the world's leading powers and to gain some of the influence we have had for the past 70 years.
What do you make of China's response to our response? Just words?
Well, I think, there were some interesting things. The Chinese at the very beginning of this were, using words they don't use much, regretful. They were semi-apologetic about the whole thing. Their language got a little more heated when we shot down the balloon. That was predictable. But I still think all the body language out of the Chinese right now is they wish this hadn't happened, and they'd like to put it behind them as soon as they can.
David, first off, I agree that status is very important. Second, do you think that by doing this, they sort of want to occupy a place in our politics, right? China and Russia both sort of want to sow division. Do you think there's anything to do with their sort of desire to poke at the United States and our politicians in this, or as they said, was it an accident?
I don't honestly. I think they wanted to have a good meeting with Secretary Blinken because their president, she had a fairly productive meeting with President Biden in Bali a few weeks ago, and I think there was a tactical miscalculation with regard to this. I don't think they were trying to provoke us. Now, having said that, I think that the people behind this program were very likely trying not just to gather information, but to test us, to see how we responded, to see how quickly we responded, to see, how a program like this, might fare if these balloons spent more time over the United States. And I think the message came through from us pretty loud and clear on this. I wouldn't expect you're going to see a lot more of these balloons because I think the standard right now in the U.S., and I think that'll be forced by the Congress, will be if you see a Chinese balloon like this, shoot it down.
David, your demeanor always has a cool way of calming me down anytime I get scared over what's going on in the world. Is that
you could just be falling asleep?
No. I think you have a great disposition about all these things.
Much calmer than you should be, given how much you know and what you see happening in this country.
Well, I'm trying to understand what might make you frantic, and are you just mutually assured destruction as a funny way of just making the world keep spinning?
No, heck no. There are plenty of things that make me very nervous. I'm not sure that American democracy is going to survive the next several years. I'm not, that's a big deal. And frankly, I never in my life thought that I would say that. I think that the threats to freedom of speech in the United States are huge and dangerous. I think that there are foreign powers, including the Chinese, that we have to be very wary of. I think, there is a likely coming collapse in Putin's Russia that could create real instability in a country that's got 6,000 nuclear warheads, more nuclear warheads than we have. That's, pretty frightening. He's run by an irrational guy. That's pretty frightening. And, I see we're doing this on video, and I look out the window behind you there, and there's a palm tree. And that suggests to me that you're someplace that is, going to be underwater soon. Global,
God,
God global almighty. Warming, it's like we don't talk about the things that happen slowly, but the things that happen slowly are way more dangerous sometimes than the things that happen quickly.
Cool.
The wind chill in Mount Washington, New Hampshire this weekend was minus 110.
It was hard. I was watching that camera on the top of Mount Washington, which says how sort of empty my life is, that I'm sitting there watching this in the middle of the night. But with extreme weather, and I don't know. Did you see the op-ed in the Times a couple days ago about the next phase of bird flu? And if you didn't,
okay,
go
David,
look
David,
at it.
I regret asking the question.
Yeah, okay. So
what scares you most, David? You got.
I really wish the answer would be like Beyonce not winning album of the year.
Let's do top 5. Let's do it in reverse order here. Number 5, things that scare you the most. I'm going to go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Just because he was calm before, but now you've made him crazy, Mike. His demeanor was okay, but now he's going to not be able to sleep tonight.
Yeah, I don't know. In the top 5 certainly is my scale when I get on it in the morning. That's
number 4.
That's I think I don't know if I can do this in reverse order because I haven't really prepared it. I think number 1 is global warming. I think Number
three?
2 is the threat to democracies in the United States. I think number 3 is probably growing inequality in the world as a thing that can drive instability in lots of countries. I think number 4 is the movement of a sort of autocracies that has been led by Putin, but that you see, in Hungary and in Brazil and in India and in a bunch of other places, in Mexico now. And as I said, I think number 5 is my scale.
Where is do you extend Lamar Jackson on that list?
I don't know. I think he's probably going to stay right where he is.
Okay, thank you.
Damn, his game is so much based on his legs. In the last few years, their season's kind of been undone by his injury.
Look, running quarterbacks always end up being a problem, don't they? Everybody says that's the future, and then they're all getting injured. And so, that happens every time, right?
Thank you, David. We appreciate you being on with us. Deep State Radio Pod.
What's that laugh he's doing?
His tongue's out. He's satisfied with himself. It's a great appearance.
I thought he had the ending to the segment with number 5, the scale, but now he really. It seems like you really want to do some sports analysis here. It seems like
they got to get him better weapons.
He's so tired of talking about these damn balloons.
Yeah, no. For me, number 6, frankly, was the idea that the Eagles win the Super Bowl. I'm from New Jersey, and that would be the worst thing that could possibly happen.
Eagles fans are the worst, correct?
They're the worst. They're
the threat to democracy we're talking about.
Do you want to revise your list?
Yeah, no. Come to think about it, a bunch of guys. You get several thousand people in a stadium throwing batteries at the players. That's pretty low.
See you later, David. Thank you for being on with us.
Spend all night out in Venice, then make castles in the sand. Santa Monica's calling, but I'm here to cover the Rams. I'll stay in and avoid chateaus. If I booze, then I'm on Skid Row. Just one drink to begin, not like that's a big sin. Just one beer, then we're gonna to the Super Bowl.
Now, Mike, we're here to cover the big game. It's a time to be professional and avoid all the temptations the City of Angels may have to offer. Ain't that right, Jessica? That's right.
Here. One, we should have asked David Sampson about Jazz Chisholm ending up on the most popular video game in baseball. It's what's second place these days, because I'm obviously far removed from baseball. I was RBI baseball in the 90s, but what is second place on the most popular baseball video game right now?
MVP Baseball 2004.
I'll spend all night out in Venice, then make castles in the sand. Santa Monica's calling, but I'm here to cover the Rams. I'll stay in and avoid chateaus. If I booze, then I'm on Skid Row. Just one drink to begin, not like that's a big sin. Just one beer, then we'll go.
I want to get to that Bryan Cranston sound that Mike Ryan accidentally played inexplicably during Stugotz's weekend observations. I also want to get to Chris Cote finally telling us what it was like to party all weekend with Roy. But are you guys as flabbergasted by this stat as I am? Nick Wright points it out pretty consistently, which is that LeBron James, for his career, averages 27, 7, and 7. And in a single game, he has never had 27, 7, and 7. Seems impossible.
Wait a minute.
That's wild.
That can't be true.
Yeah.
Seems impossible. He came, I think, within 1 point the other day of actually having it, but Nick Wright loves to point it out, so it must be true. I don't think he has this wrong.
I think he's going to do it on purpose now. That would be so badass from LeBron. to call his shot and give us the 27-7 and 7 game?
He's just been, I mean, I feel like because it's his averages, you just sort of start from a baseline of that's his stat line every night. And then it's a little bit above or a little bit below. It's staggering he's never actually hit it. But this year, he's on pace for 27, 7, and 7 again. He just keeps on doing the same thing that he always does in year 20 of his career.
Lots of 8s and 6s, huh?
Yeah, that would stand to
That's
reason.
how math works.
That's probably what's happening there.
Nailed it.
I just have to think though that everyone listening to this who didn't know that is like, that can't be right. That simply cannot be so. That he has played that many basketball games, averages 27, 7, and 7. And has never in a game had that stat line.
I've got some like stat guy for the Lakers that like, because at some point he probably has, but he'll go past it, right? There's got to be times where in a game he's been at 27, 7, and 7. It's like some stat guy for the Lakers is like, this is it. He's like texting his friends and then he just grabs a rebound and it's like, shit.
That's right.
27-7.
Try again tomorrow.
Mike is right. At this point, though, if this week you're going to be number 1 in scoring, you're already top 4 in assists. The game, you have spun the game on your finger for 15 years. LeBron has to do this before a game where he just tells us that that's what he's going to do in the game and then does it. That would be pretty cool.
He wants to play with his son and get 27, 7, and 7.
Chris Cote, how was your weekend with Roy Bellamy? Roy Bellamy, I saw there was a lot of smiling from Roy Bellamy, which made me think he was drinking.
Yes, he was drinking every morning when I would text him throughout the weekend. I'm hungover. Well, because like,
You
we'd
would
be
drink
like,
every morning?
No, it'd be like in the morning, like, hey, what time are we meeting today? I don't know, I'm hungover. So it was like he was, a lot of hangovers for Roy this week. It's Roy's heaven, Revin. But it was really fun on Friday after the skills competition. When David Dwork tells you he can get you into a private party at Dare nightclub, you go every time.
He tells me that often.
And so we ended up at Center Bar. I was waiting for Roy to show up. He finally shows up at Dwork, and I just follow them into Dare nightclub, and it's loud. Clubs. They're loud. And the bass.
And you guys are dads now.
Yeah.
You guys are dragging now. Whittingham fell asleep in that same club. Like you're all washed.
Until you see on the screen the caricature for DJ Pauly D, and you realize that you've just stumbled into a DJ Pauly D set. And that's my guilty pleasure. Jersey Shore is just like, I love it. It's bad TV, but I watch it. And so when I saw that, I turned into, 22-year-old Chris. I started fist pumping. And the next thing I know, Roy's gone. And he's just like, too loud, I see on a text.
I just would have had my eyes trained on Roy the whole time. It would have been entrancing to just watch Roy maneuver his way through a nightclub, be, brooding and sad and not like it at all. And I don't think I could have enjoyed myself. I just would have been watching Roy the whole time.
But him texting too loud, I was about Roy's age when I told you I quit nightclubs for good because the music at Live made my nipples hurt.
Oh, no, that Roy,
he mentioned that.
Roy quoted you in our recap saying, I've turned into Dan now.
You have to listen to the recap just to hear what Sarah Sivian's voice sounds
Yeah,
like.
it paints the
after
picture.
DJ Pauly D.
It paints the picture for the night.
I mean, Chris, your voice wasn't tremendous, to be fair.
Yeah, but compared to hers.
They were screaming at the top of their lungs.
DJ Pauly D, you're not going to
Pauly
not
D.
scream when you see DJ Pauly D. He crushed it too.
Dan, why did your nipples hurt? Can you tell me the science behind that?
They were vibrating. It was that loud in the club that my chest hurt and my nipples hurt, and the music was very loud. And I'm like,
It's
what?
like runner's nipple?
I'm too old for. There wasn't really chafing. It wasn't. There wasn't a burning against a jersey type of feel. No.
If you like hockey, though, I listened to it on my drive in. You guys got massive names: McKinnon, Draisaitl. Yes, if you could play with one less pad, what pad would it be? I enjoyed everybody's answers.
I asked also, what's his name? Vasilevsky, our arch rival, the goalie for the Tampa.
What's his name?
I asked him.
Well, you could tell he was always asking it with a question mark.
I
to
make
Roy.
sure for pronunciation.
He's 88.
And so I asked
Tough man.
Vasilevsky, if I had 100 shootout attempts on you and you don't have a stick, how many goals can I score? I'm getting a goal. The 5-hole is just open.
Oh,
That
you can get a
stick
goal
is
on
a
a Major
big
League
factor
Hockey
for a
guy now,
goalie.
huh?
I'm just saying. I think I'm not saying I would get a lot of goals. I have 100 attempts. Hyenas.
Hyenas, yes. All the hyenas that say that people can't do things. Where are they? Silent.
Oh, no, I don't believe that he can. I believe you guys consistently
Did you not watch
underestimate.
the playoffs? The Panthers couldn't.
I think
But he had a stick.
You guys consistently underestimate how excellent these people are.
You need
at
to get rid of
sports.
the stick and the glove. I think just the stick. I don't think you're getting there because first off, we have to account for of your 100 shots, 40 could be safeable by anybody because you're not getting enough.
62 of them don't even hit the net.
40
so I
are
only
going
have
wide.
38 real
40
chances here.
40
So
are going wide.
I have 38 that actually make it on goal. 4 of those are getting off the ice slightly.
Are you wearing skates in this, or are you just
dude, I could skate.
shoes?
I could skate backwards.
20 of them are being stopped by a newborn infant.
That's true. But those other 18.
Vasilevsky said he'd stop all of them. Yeah,
He did. I got him to chuckle though.
Well, now we've got to do it. Now we've got to do it against somebody, and you guys consistently underestimate how excellent these people are.
Well, that was my main takeaway. It's just like, holy shit, Chris Cote's in a room with McKinnon, Vasilevsky, Connor McDavid.
Just asking them ridiculous questions.
Bonus Saturday coverage from the crew that you guys really polluted. You polluted the Hockey All-Star game.
Shout out to Matthew Tkachuk for being the star that shined brightest, or All-Star MVP. Whitty, coming around?
No.
Good trade? Come on, man. It was a great trade.
I mean,
they were the number one offense in the history of the sport
Gets his
during
goals,
the regular
gets his
season
stats.
last year.
Team doesn't win.
I will say, Panthers starting to play a little bit better. Keep your eye on them. They're just 3 points out of the final playoffs.
So we did a lot of content. Make sure you also check out Too Many Men has a bunch of stuff coming out. Sarah was down here. Allison was down here. Jeremy did a great job. You got to check that shit out too.
And we are sending, I don't know why you did either, Metal
I'm
Army.
trying to sound real
out too.
natural. Check that out. Check that stuff out, man. Yeah.
Washed.
Can we just go back 30 seconds? Can I redo
No,
this?
we can't.
And
We're
let's do it
actually
again.
live right now.
Also,
Sorry.
make sure to check out the Too Many Men stuff. A lot of good stuff. Sarah was down here. Allison, check it out. Good stuff.
The Too Many Men
Too many stuffs.
I mean, that's technically what we're doing when we do content. Stuff. We're doing stuff right now. Enjoy this stuff. I'm leaving now.
Go sit in the penalty box. Can you play for me the sound? This is Bryan Cranston. What is the name of this show? I love this show, but I don't know the name of it.
The Hot Ones?
Yeah, so it's the hottest.
I think it's just Hot Ones.
So old.
Dad Whitty falling asleep in the.
Who said the Hot Ones?
Whitty did.
All right,
See you,
penalty
Whitty.
box.
The Whittingham sits.
The Hot Ones.
I didn't
the
know
Facebook.
the name. Okay, Hot Ones is the name of the show.
The Facebook one.
For those of you who do not know, and it's a great idea, it's a brilliant idea, and celebrities seem to love doing it. The show is very popular. You're interviewed while eating the hottest of hot sauces and on chicken wings usually. And Bryan Cranston is in the middle of this, and this is not funny, because at no point would you have been able to tell that his eyes are watering or that he might be hurting from the heat of the sauce, because he's simply talking poetically about really a romantic time that I don't think will ever be allowed to exist again in sports, which is the idea of listening to Vin Scully on the radio call a very slow baseball game and transporting you in childhood to a happier place, even if your childhood is not happy. Listen to Bryan Cranston explaining, and this time we can agree, right? It's dead. This is a time that will not, no further children will be raised on the time that you could listen to a game of baseball on the radio and be transfixed by that in a way that you remember 50 years later.
I don't know, Jim.
Do you have an all-time favorite Vin Scullyism?
Well, I thought I did in 81 when he talked about, if you have a sombrero, throw it to the sky. When Fernando Valenzuela pitched a no-hitter. But then in 88, Kirk Gibson hits his home run, and he says, in a season filled with improbable, the impossible has happened. Still feel like I'm in mourning for him passing, because I've been listening to him for 60 years. And Vin Scully represented to me just more than baseball. To me, it was a sanctuary. When I had a rough childhood, I can always tune out, put on my transistor, put in my earphones, and listen to him take me away. And at least for those 3 hours, I felt like I was going to be okay. Everything's safe. nothing to worry about. And I would just listen to his mellifluous voice, and he would tell stories, and I would just go off. And I'd get a baseball game, I hear, and it just felt like floating sometimes.
You can hear him sucking on his lips because the hot sauce is so hot, but he's trying to be the professional actor guy, and he achieves it, which reminds me of what happened. I don't know if you guys saw it here with Billy Gill, where I come in today, nobody is paying their penalties again on Grid of Death, and I see that a Big League Chew bag that I brought in, because one of the penalties around here is somebody has to do the entire show while chewing on an entire packet of Big League Chew, has been opened. And somebody has already started and now have to go get another one so that someone can pay this penalty because someone has chewed the Big League Chew, and the Grid of Death punishment is you have to do the show with an entire bag in your mouth. And Billy says, well, I'll do it. I'll just do it today. And he takes the rest of it and throws it in his mouth, chews it for 3 seconds, and spits it back into the bag because his mouth is full, he can't breathe, and he gets scared. And now I have to go get another bag of Big League Chew. And I don't think this is going to go well for whoever has to do it. I think we're going to have a breathing problem. I think we're going to have somebody scared at the amount of gum that they have in their mouth. Tony, are you familiar with Big League Chew?
Yes, I am familiar with Big League Chew. Where'd you even buy this? Like, did you go to a special place, like a baseball store? Like,
I was just at a sporting goods store here locally, and they had it at. Do you know what Big League Chew is? Though?
Yes, I've chewed. It looks like fake chewing tobacco that they've shredded into gum, right?
Yeah,
that is correct.
Yeah,
it really makes you wonder about.
It's aspartame free though.
Why does it make you wonder?
Kids watch baseball; they want chew. Let's market. Who was behind this?
Do you
it
think,
was Big Tobacco, wasn't it?
Do you think the
Big Tobacco was behind this?
Is Big League Chew selling well? Do you think that the Big League Chew industry, do you think that Big League Chew had its biggest year ever, according to Stugotz?
Best year ever.
I'll spend all. Hey, Tom Brady's bed's still warm. Tom Brady just left.
You're the greatest of all.